Yeah, I think that was kind of the attraction to the roles, is that they both had pasts, and that they weren't, a lot of these procedural shows that you don't really know much about the characters, and I think that the great thing about this show is that, there's a lot of meat on the bone, and certainly, Beth's character has a mystery to her character, and I think that Jack certainly does too, and the unraveling and the unveiling of that through hopefully many seasons, we'll get to know them a lot more.
We're going to get a lot of it, actually. I mean, because of who Kevin is, and the way he develops characters, and that he's more character driven than a lot of creators. I think that was a draw for both of us, that Kevin's development of these two was really going to head the show in a certain direction. And certainly there'll be a case every week, but I think, a lot of times, even when I'm reading the scripts, I care about the cases, but I truly am curious about them. Their characters, their histories, where they're going, why they're where they are, how they got there. That to me has been the most interesting part of the show, to be honest.
Well, there are rough waters in the partnership at first. What can you tease about how their dynamic has played out and what you've filmed so far?
At first, I think it's going to be rough waters for a while.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about 6 years of rough waters.
In terms of Beth, the thing that I like about her is that it's not a scenario in which she's sort of being coy or being cute or being mean to him or, putting him off because she's playing a game. She means it. She actually means it. She cares about the job first. And once he proves himself, I think the relationship will change. But I don't think it'll change until then, because she's all about the job. And it's not a game to her. It's not like, oh, well, I'm not going to be nice to you, and then maybe you'll do this, and I'll do that. And it really isn't. She is who she is, and she knows who she is. And so, because that's not the game, I think it becomes more interesting. And certainly more interesting for him.
Yeah, I think he likes the abuse.
The character Dylan.
Oh, right.
So this is a show that kind of gets inside your head. It certainly got into mine after I watched the pilot. Looking at things, checking my Twitter accounts and stuff. How has the show kind of gotten into your heads, just off screen?
Yeah, no, it does. It really does, because it's it's such a subject matter that's out in the world, and more it feels like. I think that's why the show is so timely, because you're hearing more about stalkings, not just with celebrities, obviously, but I think with regular people, it seems to be more pervasive than it's ever been. So, you look in your rearview mirror a little bit more when you're driving home.
Mm-hmm. Social media-wise, has it had any sort of effect on what you put out there, where you were sort of a little...
Well, I know Maggie's very active.
I'm the worst social media person on the planet, so for me, you have to it's like blood from a stone getting me to post anything. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about scaling back the social media. But what I do hope, though, it's a good point, though, what I do hope, you being a man is a little different.
Yeah,
I think the safety thing, just in general, the safety issue in terms of young women and girls and people who are on social media, to a fault these days, it is a show that I hope makes them think twice about what they're putting out there. That's a big one for me. I think that we're not protecting ourselves the way that we should, and I think that we are giving too much information, and because of our access to each other, we say in the pilot that stalkings has increased 30% in the last decade with the advent of all of these sites. So I'm hoping that it does. It's not just sort of look over your shoulder thing. Be careful what you put out there, and I'm hoping that will affect some, especially women.
Maggie, you're obviously coming off a very physical show. How does this one rank compared? Because she doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily an action show like Nikita was, but
no, not at all.
But how are you kind of filling that action void, if at all, in the show?
It's weird. They're filling that void with just work. This show is really long hours, but so is Nikita. We would do, if I did a 12-hour day, I felt like I hadn't done anything. It's just a really long day. But so we were doing 14 to 17-hour average days on Nikita. We worked a lot of 6-day weeks. And then, in addition to everything else we were doing, there was action, and there was big action. So that was all packed in, and I thought I was going to die on that show. So on this, it's sort of like this just steady fatigue, right? It's sort of like, it's really long hours as well, but there's so much to do in these episodes.
See all these lines?
So much dialogue.
They're mine.
So much there's so much to actually kind of, it's funny, it's weird, it's the same hours, but there's nothing there's almost
mental fatigue.
It's mental fatigue. That one was mental and physical fatigue, and this one is just pure mental fatigue, really. It's funny, but it's true.
So is it nice to be filming back in Los Angeles? And do you see this as a more grown-up role than Nikita was?
I totally do. I actually feel, my age coming into play in this role and exploring a sense of strength that's different than kicking ass and sort of doing all that stuff. But, there's something very internally strong about Beth because her circumstance has been rough, and we'll find that out later. But, and I like that. I just like that. I like that, I think that strength is also, if it's real, it's deep. It's innate. It's something you feel when someone walks into a room. It's something you feel when somebody opens their mouth. You know it. You just know it. You don't mess with certain people. You know that certain people have a depth of, sort of experience and knowledge. And that's very, very much her. So I'm enjoying that because I think that is a true example of a strong woman.